But hey, we had a lot of cool things happen in high school. I think it's mostly just basketball that you're going to be looking at, but actually maybe some canines are going to be making an appearance on the list. So I'm going to bring in my producer now for what we're going to call the High School Sports Lucky 7. He's going to set these up for me. He asked around all the other different OH reporters. I have one in the mix here. Everybody else got to kind of pick one moment that they thought was absolutely awesome from the last 7 days. So, Mr. Thompson, set it up. What do we got to start?
We are going to start things off with our Lucky 7. We definitely need a better name for that. But we're going to start things off down in one of Travis Berardi's favorite places to go and visit. Can you guess?
You said one of.
Yeah, well, okay. Where he's actually got a room. They let him stay.
The king of the castle. Of course. We're heading to Northmore.
That's right. Jack Swanger going off for 21 points and a half.
Yeah, this dude, we kind of knew the potential. We were talking about it with Ohio State and when they're at their best that they're kind of unbeatable. I feel like this unquestionably is the best player in the K-MAC, and he proved it in this first half performance. Jack Swanger, when he gets his aggressive meter going up into the RPMs where it's kind of redlining, he's tough to slow down. So 21 points in the first half. He probably could have gone for way more. Only finished with 23 for the game because the job was done. The victory was all but written. So big ups to Jax for landing on Coach B's Ballers list this past week.
That's not a bad number. Is that close to your high record and a half from high school?
Actually, I have two different ways to look at it. My junior and senior year when I was a full-time varsity player was only 17 points, so I never even did what Jax did in 2 quarters. However, on the JV team as a sophomore, we used to play varsity opponents when they would be a smaller school than us, and as a sophomore, I did put up 24 points in a game, so it depends how the cookie crumbles and what you decide.
There you go, Mr. Wenger. You're 1 point away from tying Mr. Skowronski's high school JV versus seniors. All right, moving on to number 2 from our lucky number 7. Buckeye Central's Phil Loy scored his 200th victory.
Yeah, that's a ton of wins. That means that you've been doing it at a high rate of consistency for a while. And Phil's been in and out of coaching. That program, they got a good one coming back when Abram Capel stepped aside and all the championships that he had won. Like, who's going to fill that void? Nobody better than this guy, and he kind of proved it. I mean, you think about, you'd have to coach for at least 10 seasons and win 20 games per season to get to that mark. So that already lets you know that you have to have a decade of amazing basketball just to land there. So this is certainly one not to poo-poo. It's a big accomplishment. Phil's one of the nicest dudes around, athletic director, coach extraordinaire, and just super excited for him and the girls out in New Washington for accomplishing that feat.
He loves that program, and you can tell because I deal with mainly athletic directors in any capacity, and it's not just a red carpet. It's a red carpet he rolls out for just all of us. He wants that product and the program to succeed in any capacity, even if they can't be on the floor. Maybe they can shine somewhere else. So congrats, Phil, on such an awesome accomplishment. I can't even think of anything I've done for 10 years I'm proud of.
Yeah, I'll support that, too, with my own life.
But we also made ourselves a new number 1 fan over at the Mountaintop.
Oh, boy.
That's right. I don't like OH.Report. I love that.
Okay, so this was sent to me in a group message, and I was just like, I wonder what we said or what we did, and like, why you mad, bro, type of thing. And then, of course, leave it to the young people to kind of fill you in. I guess this is a thing that's going on, a trend, as they say. And by saying by virtue that he does not like us, I'm told actually means that it's a little white lie on his white t-shirt, and that actually he's a fan of the OH.Report. So I'd like to know who this guy was. We did have a Buckeye Central fan last year that made a custom jacket when he went and covered them in the tournament and got a bunch of the other fans to sign it. It had an OH.Report logo on it. So maybe a cousin of that person, whoever you are, we salute you. We thank you. And at the next Buckeye Central game, we got to get this kid some more airtime.
Well, I was going to say, while we were looking here, I have a clip from Upper Sandusky crowd surfing that I was going to try to. Upper Sandusky's fans, they're hard to beat. It's just a fantastic group of kids there. They're always packed out, and come on, you get shirts like that. I don't care if they like it or hate it. Our name is on a shirt. Coming soon to the OH.Report store, you can get this shirt. Moving right along, Galleon. I gotta actually turn up some tunes for this one. So
okay.
Make sure I've got some audio on this because you're gonna want to tune in to this.
And go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
Get your hands together.
Take my horse to the old town road.
That's right.
Not to toot my own horn, but those are
Till
my
I
hands in the
can't
background.
no more.
There you go. Bonus points.
And yeah, Travis is bonus points. But yeah, such a cool event. We've been having some fun over on Coach's Corner, getting folks to sing. And nobody really wanted to sing. And I don't know half these kids, even if they're the superstars. But this poor guy, he was just there as the peanut gallery. He didn't even get to come on to the show until it was his time to shine.
Yeah,
and
you want to talk about the
boy,
sixth
dude.
man of the year right there, coming off the bench and just spitting bars, baby. Getting that Lil Nas X going, getting the clapping, and even had you clapping over in your producer chair.
I
So
could not help.
that's
It
pretty
was
cool.
Very cool. So we've had some nice singing moments over on Coach's Corner. But also, here we go. We've got Bryce Coder was down in Big Walnuts. And, well, things got a little bit fun during the halftime.
A little bit furry, too.
Yes, and you know me, I'm a sucker for the dogs, and thank you to Bryce for putting 8 whole minutes of this together for me.
Yeah, the basketball, it's always good down in the OCC, but this might have been the main attraction down at the Eagles' Nest. I mean, look at the leaping ability, and then the owner too, man. This is some dedication. This is some great training. The little spin to put him down on the floor, and that's great acceleration right there just to catch up.
I mean, and I can only imagine that they probably didn't know this was happening. And sometimes for halftime, our camera people get to kind of get a drink, maybe go to the restroom. Not today. You are going to be filming some canine cam in the middle of a gym. Very cool.
Yeah, anytime that you get a halftime show at the high school games, it's kind of rare. I mean, a lot of times they'll bring out some of the youth programs. They'll play a little game. Clear Fork, of course, has the mini Colts, and they're always super fun to watch. But this is big time right here. So shout out Brian Shelton down there at Big Walnut getting this together for the halftime show. Because this, I mean, are you not entertained, people? Come on. I bet they were like, yo, can we put 10 more minutes on that halftime buzzer before it goes off? We want more of that collie going nuts.
I mean, this guy is doing some craziness. Maybe we can find a way to combine this with the mini Colts and just make one of the most epic halftime shows ever. Also, probably going to want to tune some audio up for this one. With the presidential campaign behind us, well, is it? I'm actually not even sure anymore, but oh, a little bit of doggo. My buddy Joe sure knows a little bit about it.
Make it great again. Donald Trump's doing that for America, and he used to host his own show. The inauguration looked pretty fun the other day, and I mean, Ronald Reagan, well, he was both an actor and a president. You know, maybe I could do that.
Here we go again.
Oh, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Today is Liberation Day for all of our viewers. And oh, there are so many. We have the greatest viewers in the world.
Can't argue with that.
From this day forward, the Joe Show will flourish and be respected again all over the basketball world. We will be the envy of every show in every nation.
Orange there for a minute.
Carrie Underwood is here, but not needed, as I will perform my own rendition of America the Beautiful. The golden age of your viewing experience begins right now.
Okay, so if you've been tuning into the Joe Show this season, obviously you're aware that Coach Baylog, he's taken this thing to new levels that I wasn't aware that he was interested in. So as the executive producer and writer of a lot of this content, it's really up to Joe to kind of fulfill the character and embody it. And I thought that this was maybe his peak performance so far.
This was fantastic. I'm just glad that he's able to cram in a little bit of basketball into this show that he does. because-
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it needs to get in there. But this was phenomenal. Tip my hat to you, sir. Very well produced and just Joe. We don't even need the audio. I'm just going to sit back here and hear what this guy's lips are going to say.
No, I gotta ask him, like, what? I think he was trying to do a little Trumpish type of accent there, but I'm not really sure what started coming out.
It starts to slide in and out. And when you're having that much fun, maybe you kind of forget that you're not an actor and you are a former Hall of Fame high school coach. So I think he does pretty well for a former coach and a now it's hard to keep up with his accolades, but presidential run in 2028, I assume, also is so many alternate egos. I love it. But that's not it. That's only 6.
Oh.
If you're keeping track.
What's
at home.
lucky number 7 then?
Well, lucky number 7, we kind of hinted on throughout the evening, especially when we had on one of our 3 guests. But the 7th, I don't think these are in any particular order, has to be that Whippet comeback that you and I were both at. And we're still picking our jaw up off of the ground at what we saw, what we witnessed, and how it all took place.
It really felt like Clear Fork was going to landslide Shelby in this game. At multiple points, they were up at least 15 points. They got it as high as 16 on a few occasions, including late in the third quarter. And I scrubbed through it a couple hours ago before we came on set, just looking, and I was like, I need to be reminded of exactly how this transpired, and it still doesn't all add up for me. I can't make sense of it. Natalie Lance can't really necessarily, I think, pinpoint exactly how they were able to pull it off, but it doesn't matter. When the scoreboard says that you've got a couple more points than your opponent and you were down that big, that late, it's a special type of performance, and oh, by the way, all they did was lock up a 7th consecutive MOAC championship with the victory. So kudos to all the Lady Whippets in the senior class. 8 of them, all they've ever known is winning a league title. And because of this crazy play right here, this was the first time that they led the entire game. I can't even, how much time's on the clock? Not very much. 45 seconds or something?
Yeah, I was going to say we had a head in the way. It was under a minute. Because the crowd was going nuts there. But, yeah, going into the half, it was like, well, I guess we'll stick around for the second part of this one. We're kind of obligated to do so, but we already know how this is going to play out. Nobody, except maybe the 8 seniors, Natalie, and a couple of people on that coaching staff, thought this was going to be happening at all.
Hot shooting, great defense. It's a recipe for success, and they've been cooking with gas for many years now with Coach Natalie. 13 years on the job. She's done a lot of winning, but this year in this group, that might be one of the most special runs that they've ever had, and this will be the moment, I'm sure. There's still some games to come, some big ones. The game tomorrow against Bellevue, and then the tournament run. However,
think back.
You're going to remember this one and the adrenaline dump that everybody experienced. And I was kind of surprised to hear when I asked Coach, like, you're riding the bus back. What was that party like? And she's like, we kind of maintain a little bit of quiet. I doubt it after that game.
You got to have that media front up. They can't give us everything. Otherwise, we would have no stories to tell tomorrow. But there's got to be. You're telling me after a comeback like that, after all of that went down, you just sat on the bus all the way back to Shelby, just quiet, just checking your TikToks?
Doubt it.
No.
So there it is, the lucky 7s for you guys. We'll get a better name. We'll be back with this.
We
maybe
literally
it's
just
kind
came
of fun.
up with that today. I love the idea, especially the crowdsourcing, because you sent me to 2 places last week and asked me to see all the things I saw. And it's like, well, you were at one of them, so I ain't got a lot. So
yeah,
ask it around to the everybody, and they did a really good job of hooking me up. And come on, I cannot wait until I can get my hands on one of these shirts.
Yeah, coming to the team store soon. All of them are going to be handmade right off of the $5 cotton section, just like you would appreciate, with authentic Sharpie on them. So, $20, I think, sounds like a good starting point. Yeah.
That's a starting
Give
point.
or
Maybe
take.
we'll give some proceeds somewhere. I'm
Sure.
assuming Jory's going to be writing these, so a little carpal tunnel, Advil, something like that. But
Yeah.
not a bad week for our first time doing this. That's a cool segment with a bad name.
Yeah, we'll improve off of that. But